Alright, I'm gonna hit the music. Tonight, we have a trade trial. Donovan and Danny have completed a trade. Danny has acquired Jared Goff, Austin Hooper, and Saquon Barkley. Dono has acquired Zach Ertz, Nick Chubb, Daniel Jones, and Darius Slayton. Now we hear from them. Alright. Nice. There we go. So I said it already. Whichever one of you wants to talk about what Quentin said, how this trade came along, and everything like that.
So I was the one who reached out. I kind of thought that maybe I didn't really want to invest first-round capital in a running back going forward as a long-term move. Now, I'm not married to Nick Chubb as a first-round keep, but I figured, that's a workable RB to play week in, week out and stay competitive. Obviously, Danny got the best player. I'm not going to argue that. Saquon is easily the best player in the deal. I just felt that next year in the first round, I will be able to pick up someone good. And I've got a lot of really good assets going forward. I mean, Daniel Jones in the 7th, to me, is a good option. I mean, I have his jersey. I don't know. In a league where QBs are going to be hard to come by next year, having Minshew late, Jones in the 7th, Slayton in the 11th is very promising as a breakout receiver. And then upgrading my tight end position to Zach Ertz from Austin Hooper was pretty big. Admittedly, didn't know as much about the Ertz situation as I probably should have, but I still have faith rest of season. They're not gonna totally get rid of him. If they do, hopefully it goes to a good team. Worst case.
Okay.
Yeah, that about covers it.
So he
Dono
said,
reached
wait,
out to
I
me.
want to clarify. I want to know, just for clarification. So you said Slayton was an 11th round keep. D. Jones is 7th
It
round.
was, yeah.
Because this is with an eye on keepers, as most things are.
Yeah, 6 keeps minimum next year. So
Yeah.
a lot of options.
Yeah, so Danny, now you can talk about you acquired Saquon, Hooper, and Goff for Ertz, Chubb, D. Jones, and Slayton.
Yeah, okay. So basically, I knew that Dono wanted Danny Dimes since I drafted him pretty much.
Oh,
And he reached out like a week ago and was like, I want Danny Dimes, and I was like, let's wait till after week 1. And then he reached out again after he played and after Slayton put up 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's like, I want Danny Dimes and maybe Slayton. And I was willing to deal Danny Dimes, but I wasn't too high on dealing Slayton because he did so well and he's 11th round keep. And then Dono mentioned that he was willing to part with Saquon possibly if we could strike the right deal. And that's when the real negotiating started, because Saquon is a stud, and I do not like Chubb after week 1. And so went back and forth a little bit for a few hours. I don't know. Just kind of feeling out offers, trying to figure out how to make up the value for Saquon. Because, Chubb, Slayton, and Danny wasn't going to be enough. So we had to figure out something else to add in there. And basically, we settled on also parting with Ertz to upgrade his tight end. And then I get Cooper. And I was okay with that because I figured Ertz is kind of he's a big player. He's going to be like a top 4 tight end this year, probably. Maybe Goddard's going to usurp him now, but basically,
That's my question. I'm
was
going to
okay
ask you, who are you starting at tight end? Sorry to interrupt. Now that you're talking about
I'm
tight
starting.
ends, I don't want to leave that.
I'm starting Goddard, Hooper, Olsen, and Gronk.
Nice. So you have
Ooh.
Yeah,
one.
I forgot that you can start a tight end in your super flex, so I went ahead and moved one into there. That's going to be permanent. Goff will be a
Wait,
bye
so
week
you have how
fill-in.
many tight ends? Say them all again.
I've got 5 on my roster.
That's wild.
Realistically, I'll probably start 3 of them this week, and then I'll put Goff in the flex, the super flex. But definitely, I'm
We have a
starting
separate
Goddard and
trial for
Hooper
that.
going forward.
Yeah, well,
I
that's
mean,
what I want to know more about.
if you look
How
at
do
my
you feel
team,
about Hooper? So you're gonna start Hooper?
oh yeah, I'm definitely starting Hooper.
Definitely starting
now that
Hooper?
Joku went down,
Yeah.
I mean, it should be his position. And
One thing I think worth mentioning is that when the tight end situation came up, because originally, to give you a sense of the chronology of the trade, Danny originally offered Barkley and I trade Barkley and Goff. He gives me Chubb, Slayton, and Daniel Jones, and I was not okay with that. And then it progressed into the I came up with give me Ertz. I want to upgrade my tight end position, and I offered Gesicki, which to me was a better offer to him. Maybe that's just a difference
Oh,
in
shit.
player value. And
That's
then
it.
he countered with Hooper, and I immediately said send it.
That's a
That was
crazy
my
wrinkle.
position.
That's a crazy wrinkle.
oh yeah, I don't believe in Gesicki
I think
at
the
all.
jury
I
might be
didn't want
surprised by that take.
Something about Gesicki is just like,
That's fair.
and then
That's
He's
Greek
got quarterback
athleticism.
questions.
down.
He's got quarterback questions. I don't think Hooper did very
Those
well,
questions will be answered by week
But-
5.
Oh,
You heard it here
I'm hoping
first.
those are answered because I'm hoping that Tua is gonna be my keep going forward, and is gonna be a filthy keep.
Wait, so you have Tua, but you're low on Gesicki?
Yeah,
I guess.
I
That's
don't.
fair.
He's not gonna
I guess
feed
that's fair.
Gesicki.
It's
He's
pretty
gonna
different.
feed Preston Williams.
Yeah.
One other thing I wanted to mention that I personally enjoy, if we're just going to talk about things that resulted from this trade,
Sure.
for the next eternity, I could potentially have the marvelous Minshew and DJ Chark stack running concurrently with the Danny Dimes Darius Slayton
So
stack.
yeah, well, that's another question. So
and that's something I'm excited about.
Danny, do you feel like you upgraded or downgraded at QB?
I couldn't have paid him to take Goff off my hands. I made a huge mistake drafting him, and I was thrilled to see him leave. Absolutely.
Danny, how do
Yeah,
you feel about Goff
I'd
over
say
over
Goff-
Daniel Jones?
Goff is compared to Daniel Jones, I'd say he's a downgrade. He's got he still has potential. Goff can throw up those crazy weeks. He's got really good receivers, but I think Daniel Jones will be a little better than Goff going forward. But also, who knows? He's only a sophomore. He could regress, and he could take the Baker route. Yeah.
I think it's pretty apparent by his film. That second interception looked bad, but he was, so they hit his hand.
Is that the one where
He showed
just
great
threw it up into
decision.
the
Yeah,
end zone? Yeah, that was
Yeah.
fine.
not great decision making to throw it in the first place, even though he did have a man wide open, but Bud Dupree hit his hand. Like it's not like he did that off of his own, free will and accord. It was forced.
Yeah, so Daniel Jones got 17 points. Goff got a very meager 10, a very Goff 10. He didn't get any touchdowns, but that just, I guess, happens. Jared Goff doesn't
I'm not
rush at all.
worried
Daniel
about
Jones
that.
definitely rushes.
I think
Note
Goff
on
will be
Chubb as
fine.
well.
And Chubb.
I beg to differ. He's not someone I want to see in my wide receiver or in my super flex week in, week out at all. Chubb also played against the Baltimore defense, which is absolutely nasty. And I expect to see Chubb put up much bigger numbers tomorrow against Cincinnati. I would bet on 10 points at least.
Easy.
He even out snapped Hunt when they were losing, which is a good sign, even though it is becoming more of a committee.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to if you were to value these like 2 weeks ago, Saquon and Chubb are fairly close, and you're getting Slayton, Ertz. Those are pretty.
It was a buy low.
Yeah. And then, in my opinion, Hooper is, you can debate about his role. I guess Njoku's hurt now.
We'll see. I
Yeah.
figure for like a 16th or something round keep, maybe he ends up taking over, and that's a fire keep, along the lines of the Mark Andrews and Waller keeps.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean,
But I don't think it'll be that good.
How did Waller even do week 1?
it's a good question.
I don't know.
Cooper knows, right? Wasn't he in,
Like
wasn't
7
he in
points.
Cooper's team? 7 points? Shit. Wait, let me see this. I'm looking at Cooper's team.
I don't know. Hooper's becoming a journeyman at this point. Like, he'll be a serviceable tight end some weeks,
Waller
I
got
think,
10.5.
but he'll be hindered. Be
Did
hindered
the
by
Browns
Baker
pay him,
Mayfield.
though? Did they give him like a fat contract or something?
Yeah, he got money.
Yeah, but
Yeah, so
doesn't
like,
always
and
equate
now that
to-
Joku's down, it kind of makes me think like he's got some good security there.
It's true.
I
don't
mean,
know.
he'll have a job. He'll have a job for sure. I personally would prefer Ertz, even if
Yeah.
it's a short-term thing.
Yeah, well, that's what also Ertz is like. He's getting older. He's who knows?
Yeah, well, Danny, you
And
have
now
Goddard.
with
I
the
mean,
trade rumor-
yeah, I know how you feel about Ertz. You have Goddard, right? So
Yeah, and great. I mean, it's going to
I
be a
think they'll
thing
just-
where the ceiling is impacted, but Ertz will have a good floor,
Yeah,
which is
they-
something you look for in a tight
they have
end.
no wide receivers, so it's fine.
Tight end
Yeah,
premium, he's one of the most frequently targeted tight ends.
It's
Historically.
true.
yeah, he was.
All right, do we want to hear
Yeah,
from our? Or I guess if you have any closing statements, that would be the time.
Okay, Danny, you go first.
I'd say my statement is that I'm building this team for next year, basically. And basically what I'm betting on is one, that Goddard ends up being the number 1 guy by next year. I'm betting that Tua ends up breaking out and that he ends up being a better keep than Danny Dimes. And then and that Hooper ends up being a good keep too. So I'm really hoping that. And then also, since the Chubb situation kind of sketches me out, I don't know about that. I know they were against Baltimore, but I think Saquon as my first round pick is a lot better than having to pick up the scraps in whatever the first round offers next year, since this year was already kind of bad with 3 keeps, and 6 keeps is going to make it even worse. So I'm betting that next year I'm going to be in a good position with my keeps, and that hopefully I'll be contending for a title again.
Dono.
I think that the trade on my end both helps me in the future and now. Sure, I gave up a blue chip running back for a arguably less good running back in a more diluted situation. Sure, I believe that Chubb will do better and post better numbers, even with the committee. Be okay. I still have Dalvin leading the way. Dalvin and Chubb isn't anything to scoff at. In the first round next year, there will be a decent enough player for me to pick up in the first round to make this really, good for my future team. Players I got upgraded my situation and depth quite a bit, and my QB situation looks way better now that Goff's off my roster. I think this both helps me now and
You're
later.
a lot of golf hate right now.
He just put up 10 points against Lucas, and I lost. So
It's true.
I also had him last year, and he sucked dick, and I
I think he's
benched
going to be
him.
back in Super Bowl form, during a couple years ago, where he made a run to the Super Bowl.
When he
He's
lost.
going to bounce back from that.
Okay, if the jury wants to come off mute.
Drag us into a different Discord so we can have our private deliberation.
You guys
No,
really
no,
going to deliberate?
We'll deliberate in front of everybody.
Deliberate live.
Yeah, the live deliberation. Coop's got to come off.
Deliberations are supposed to be private. You're not supposed to know what happens.
I can deliberate right here, right now.
Yeah, let's just deliberate. Let's just deliberate. All right, Coop, you seem pretty opinionated, so let's hear what you got to say off.
Should
the
I go
bat.
on cam?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, sure,
Yeah.
Or which
Why don't
project?
you just say this in my face?
I got a shirt on. Now. Okay, so I'm looking at it. In my opinion, Goff and Hooper are negatives. So I would not want Hooper, and I would not want Goff. Now, I don't know why you took Hooper instead of what's his
Yeah,
name?
Gesicki.
Gesicki. That was a questionable move.
Better keep
And
value.
it's also questionable that you have 5 tight ends. I didn't know that. In fact,
About to have more tomorrow.
like, okay, what the fuck? So I see why you were willing to trade Ertz.
Tight end
The
premium.
thing with the thing with Ertz is
Not for
Ertz might kind of get fucked this year because of Goddard, and he's definitely not getting a new contract. So I could see Ertz turning into like a what was that guy's name? Jimmy Graham. You know, where he's just
Yeah.
kind of like he ends up being a
He
guy that gets
bounces
tossed
around for a few
but
more years.
I don't really.
Well, that's like Greg
Yeah,
Olsen and
but I don't
Jason
really-
Witten now, right?
Right. But I don't really think that's the point of what Dono did, right? I think Dono got him to basically
not looking to
get
keep.
points now, which I think he will do. So I don't think that's too bad. Chubb, honestly, I don't know if Chubb's going to stay on the Browns. I could see if they move Chubb and decide to keep Kareem. If Chubb goes to like a team that would need a running back, I could see that actually potentially turning into a good keep. But like Donna said, he's also not looking to keep Chubb. And I also kind of see Donna's strat of getting rid of Saquon so he can get a first round. But in my opinion, I don't think the first rounds are going to be good enough to justify saying, okay, I want the first round instead of having Saquon, right? Like I feel like the value from keeping Saquon first round next year is going to outweigh the value of having a first round pick next year during the draft, right? So that's how I see it. And then with the final 2 guys, with Daniel Jones and Darius Slayton, like I think they're good. I like the DJ trade more than the Slayton trade, just because with Slayton, Golden Tate was out this week, and I feel like there's going to be more mouths to feed in that offense than just than when it was just Shepard and Slayton, right? So I don't know how Golden Tate's going to impact the play that Slayton's getting. Overall, my thoughts are really it comes down to, did what Dono get equal Saquon, or was it greater than Saquon? And to me, I don't know. I mean, okay, so personally for me, I mean, I'm not that high on DJ. So, and Nick Chubb this year, I don't think is going to be great. So for me, I would say that it's less than Saquon, but not by much. So my original thoughts on the trade were, when I first saw it happen, I saw that Saquon got moved, and I was like, oh shit, well, Dono got fucked. But I think looking at it a little bit more, I don't think he got as fucked as I initially thought. And I think it's actually good that he was able to kind of use Saquon as a way of getting out of Goff and Hooper. So, I don't know. Those are my thoughts.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Those are
I-
solid thoughts.
I thought
those are
that,
solid thoughts to have.
Very solid.
Well, at first it's like jarring. You see Saquon's gone, and you're like, what the fuck did he get? And you're like, that's not very much. And then, you think about it, and it was fine. In my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, like,
it's not
it's
like.
not bad.
Can
It's
everyone
not-
hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Brian,
can
we
hear you.
hear you.
Okay, let's go. Okay, so I think
Dom's time.
wholeheartedly Dono won this trade.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Like,
Oh, okay.
very far. First things first is, when you have Saquon in the first round, that's a lot of value that's upheld in one person. I totally agree with Dono
He's right with
saying
that.
about having 2-star running backs being your keepers. He's redistributing value in his team for keeper sessions that's going to have 6 different people in it. So obviously Saquon's great, but if he keeps Nick Chubb and Nick Chubb moves, he could also stays, he could also be great. At the very worst, Nick Chubb's an RB2. Whatever. That's fine. I think the real question comes down to how keepable. I think DJ is going to be keepable. It's going to be fine. DJ's in like the 7th round. It's going to be fine. He's going to be like a QB 13. It's fine. Whatever. I think the real issue is, if Darius Slayton actually becomes a keepable pick, this is a really good trade for him. That's actually what I think it comes down to, because Ertz is just getting value for this year, which is fine. So if you look at the trade and you say how equal is the trade right now this year, it's actually, some people, most people would
Hello?
probably say Danny won by a little bit, but
Hey.
then you look at
Yep.
all the different avenues of keeper dynasty
yes.
that
Yep,
Dono
third
can
floor.
do. It opens up his realm of choices, and I like in fantasy sports I like to have more choices.
Oh, I didn't see the photo.
Yeah,
No,
that's
fine.
a fair
Thank you
point.
very much. I didn't actually
I
check.
do think that
I saw
you
concierge
you
and I didn't know
being
what that meant.
Dom have a bit of a
Okay.
bias towards Nick Chubb,
Okay,
So
yeah, no
I
worries.
think that
No,
you could think
It's
that
okay.
he is a
Thank
little
you.
bit better than he is in this current
Thank you.
situation.
Bye.
So I think it's so close. The thing before all of this, I thought I was kind of leaning towards I think Danny won this trade, and then I heard that he could have got Gesicki, and then I also heard that he was still playing for next year. So that absolutely fucked my mind for a second, because nobody is going to want to keep Jared Goff next year and Austin Hooper.
Wait.
David Njoku getting hurt was kind of a godsend for you in terms of the Austin Hooper. I mean, Baker Mayfield, they need to get a new QB. The Cleveland offense is just not
Cleveland
looking great.
first.
But I mean, Saquon, listen, I love Saquon, and that's kind of the anchor of this whole trade. And Daniel Jones and Darius Slayton, I agree with what Coop was saying about Darius Slayton. I think he just had a big week, and it's because everybody was out. So when people come back, there'll obviously be more mouths to feed. But no, it's a definite. Listen, I love Saquon, and I like him way more than I like Nick Chubb. So I think the slight edge goes to Danny, but also, why do you have 5 tight ends on your team? There's a few certain things to ask. But then
You guys
also,
are
like
asleep
Dom was
on the
saying,
rules of this league.
yeah, tight end. You're overvaluing the tight end premium. But I do agree with what Dom said about the just how many choices Dono has now. He kind of unleashed a burden that was Jared Goff, Austin Hooper, and in some ways Saquon Barkley.
Yeah. I agree with all
I don't
that.
have too much to add. I think if you look at this trade, in a vacuum, without looking at teams, Danny wins this by a little bit, maybe a lot of bit. But when you look at their teams, 5 tight ends or whatever, that's pretty rough. And Dono already has the RB depth to lose Saquon and be perfectly fine, and got Chubb, so he's got a good team this year. At this point, I really don't see a big difference in Danny and Goff. I don't think either of them are great. Some people, I guess, are just more high on Daniel Jones being a keeper than I am. I don't see it that way. But in a vacuum, Danny wins this overall, probably Dono in the long run. That's all I got.
Yep. That's all good. Yep. Everyone has very measured takes on this, which is good.
Yeah, I
guys-
guess my thing is I just don't know how valuable the first round pick is going to be next year, right?
Yeah, there's 6 keeps.
Because with 6 keeps, you're basically getting a 4th round, right? Or a 3rd round, which that's not bad.
Yeah, I think that's really one of the prime questions of this trade. I guess that is the question.
But I don't think having that pick. I understand having options, right? But I don't think having that pick outweighs just keeping Saquon, right? Because keeping Saquon, we know Saquon, he's young. Assuming that some catastrophic injury doesn't happen, right? We know he's going to be a prime running back for the next however many years. I feel like, it would be like if you traded Zeke away, back in 2017 or whatever. He's going to go off.
Mm-hmm.
The value of just keeping him in the first round, I don't know. I feel like that's solid, but I get what Dom's saying, right? Obviously Dono does have the depth, so he can make whatever route he wants to.
Oh, see now, Lucas is very opinionated, and he will balance out Dom here.
And he has no context.
Yeah, he's got no context.
He missed the entire trial.
I have another point to add here on that. So you saw the keeps this year, and a lot of people went the value route. So the beginning ended up being pretty decent. I also have a 2nd rounder. So every year there's a fresh crop of rookie running backs, and Lucas kind of mentioned this going into the year in the keeps. There will be options. There absolutely will be options, and my running back depth is anchored at the third spot with Dalvin, fresh off a new contract, which Saquon hasn't hit that yet. He hasn't hit that area of his contract where he's going to start. That's an uncertainty going forward with him. Whether I, as a Giants fan, want to accept that right now. But I think that it was really important for me to take some of the value I had at the running back position and strengthen other positions on my team for a good chance to win this year and to provide options, like Dom said, going forward for my keeps.
I think it's hilarious how people are shitting on Nick Chubb right now. He just faced the Ravens defense. They lost
The Ravens,
lost 38-6. Yeah, they're gonna be running Chubb up the middle. Yeah.
Since Kareem Hunt came back from
Key part is
being
the
suspended,
Kareem thing.
no, I want to say this. Since Kareem Hunt came back
We
from
get
being
it. We've all
suspended,
read it,
I
Lucas.
believe that he
We've
has
all read it.
outscored Nick Chubb 6 out of 8 games. I
7
could
out
be
of 8.
off by 1 game. Is it 7 out of 8?
Yeah.
That's fucking hilarious. That's not a man I trust for the future. I didn't really like him going
my
into the
God.
season, though. I mean, that's a stat that you can't deny. He's not the main back. He gets no targets. That's
Oh my
like
god! They just
very
they
dangerous.
have a new head coach. They were losing 38-6.
They'll have a
They
new
have a
head
new
coach
head
next
coach.
week.
They
too.
had a new head coach who let
Oh man,
Nick
It's all
Chubb
we got
it was
prime
so
time
civilized
tomorrow night.
before.
We got
Out
prime
target,
time tomorrow
out
night
rush.
too. This is all happening like 24 hours
What
from now.
are
We're
you
gonna see
even
Nick Chubb.
talking about?
Nick Chubb
course
was
they're gonna
out.
Meet me at
snapped,
social
out targeted,
social
out
rooftop
rushed.
to watch
Third
the game.
down back.
I'm ready for Hooper
What?
to outscore Chubb tomorrow night.
All right, so do you guys want to
Hey,
like, I
Hooper?
guess like vote on the trade, or do you just want to leave it with the comments?
I'm not
Like,
gonna. I mean, like.
No, I just
We
hopped in
should
to say
vote.
that I don't like Nick Chubb. thought
I
that was-
don't.
Yeah, that's fine. You can be.
I wanted to
retarded.
see what was
Well,
happening. too.
Lucas,
Is this just,
what's
did this
your-
become
Lucas,
like a
what's your
roundhouse,
overall
round
take?
table?
Oh,
Bro,
Lucas.
like
Yeah,
Nick
this is a
Chubb
ra-
is
this
an
is a round table.
insanely talented guy, and now that he's
Yeah,
got
Nick
a-
Chubb's great.
What's
Yeah,
Oh,
so
I
is
saw him
Fournette.
fuck us in Florida. Yeah.
Well, Fournette's not great.
I
I
don't
think
know.
Nick Chubb's a great running back.
No, Fournette's
is
not
it
great.
Stefanski
Yeah.
now?
Fournette was talented, man. He was
Nick
more.
Chubb is one of the best pure
Yeah.
runners in the NFL.
No, yeah, Nick
Pure
Chubb's
runner.
a fantastic runner. Yeah, no, I have no beef with Nick Chubb
Now
as
they
a
have
runner,
running,
and I
now
don't
they have a running
like-
minded head coach.
Yeah.
They were down 38 to. They lost 38-6 to the Ravens. They're going to be passing the ball and putting Kareem Hunt out on the field. That's just how it works. That's how it's going to work when you're losing.
I think that's just how it's going to go generally.
Yeah, but the problem is that if you're on a team that you don't think is going to have a winning record, and you're trading for a running back
Like,
who
how
you know
often is
will
that
not
gonna
be
happen?
in on
I don't
losses,
think necessarily
that's
the
not
Browns are
something
gonna
that I
be
really
bad.
want to
They just
get
got a
in
new
on.
head
What
coach.
happens next
It's all
time they play the
defense.
Ravens? You have to plan on the same thing.
No, I would still start him. Just saying that.
I just
I
want to
would
say
definitely
this
still-
wasn't a
I'd
Saquon
start
Barkley
him.
for
It was
Nick
not a
Chubb
running
trade.
game script.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
he
I
got
just
it.
wanted
Yeah,
to
he's
clarify that.
I would also start Nick Chubb in like every
We've
situation.
regressed here.
He's great. He's gonna
Oh,
get
Like,
rushing.
I guess I
touchdowns.
don't know what we're arguing. Are we arguing that Nick Chubb's not an RB2, or he's not an RB1, or
No, it changed.
He's not an RB1, I
Changed
guess.
entirely.
I just like Nick Chubb stats.
If you look at
Lucas-
player to
Lucas,
player
here's
in
another-
the
if
trade,
you're
like
comparing the
Quentin
Cleveland
said
Browns
something.
offense last year to this year, you're retarded. Sorry.
Why?
Did you watch that
It's a
first game?
totally new coaching system, dude. Totally new.
Bro, it's every
And
year.
he just got his ass fucked. Like, does having
For
a new
being
coach
led
make
by
you better?
Freddie fucking
To be fair, it was the Ravens. Like, the
To
Baker's
be
had,
Ravens
like,
fair, it was the
four
Ravens,
coaches.
but like,
He's been in
my
the
God.
NFL for like 4 years.
like is any head coach just automatically like an upgrade for a team? Because I feel like he has to prove that
Yeah,
before I'm
that was a
all
okay.
in on him.
Lem, you're
Because
just
it's not
digging
like the
yourself
Vikings
up.
offense was like some sort of powerhouse
is a
last
new,
season.
You know, I wonder if Bruce Arians is better than Dirk Cutter. Like,
Well, not so
that's
far.
a dumb. That's a dumb
Is Kevin
statement that a
is
head
is,
coach
Stef- is,
doesn't
Stef-
matter.
is Stefanski Bruce Arians now?
Yeah.
Stefanski this guy with
that's
some
like
like
apples
rich
and oranges.
history?
I'm just
No,
making the
I'm saying no.
comparison that
I'm
head
saying
coach
that like
matters.
last year you could have been saying like, oh, Freddie Kitchenson's here. They're gonna pop off because people were saying that. A lot of people were saying that. It's not
Nobody was saying
necessarily just a
that was
fucking
Browns
instant.
fans. He has
No,
Freddie Kitchens
people
is here. They're
were
gonna pop
saying
off.
that. Many
Well,
people
I
were
wasn't
saying that.
saying
Whether
that.
you believe that after or they believe that, but I'm saying a lot of people are just saying, you know, oh, new coach. That doesn't mean like good all of a sudden. I'm not saying that they suck, but like new head coach doesn't mean good.
All right, Lucas,
It doesn't
here's
mean
another-
automatically bad either,
Damn.
and they're more going to be more run centered in neutral game scripts.
I got Taco Mac.
Okay, all right. Does this change your opinion, Lucas? Instead of Austin
Can't hear
Hooper,
Quentin.
Daniel could have gotten Mike Gesicki.
Yeah, I heard that. I
How do
like
you feel about
Gesicki more
that?
than Hooper.
I
Yeah.
honestly thought the Gesicki move was fucking retarded.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know how you don't take the potential.
I seem to be getting a lot of hate.
You not.
But to be fair,
Yeah.
what's his name is on IR now, so like they could easily just
Dude,
fucking
Hooper-
feed
Yeah,
Hooper.
that was a 40 chess move. Like,
You
Well,
guys,
I mean,
you guys
Njoku
realize that
on IR
Hooper is a
really
later
boosts
keep than
Hooper.
Gesicki, right?
what?
Gesicki
I
is
did
a
not know
Like,
keep
by,
that.
like,
I don't know what
3
round
or
they
4
got drafted
rounds.
in.
Austin Hooper is a keep in the
Admittedly.
16th,
I
and
don't know
Gesicki is a
which
keep in the
round
10th.
Gesicki got drafted in, but
Yeah.
rounds are gonna start to not matter. So
I feel like, wait, what was that? 16th and 10? I feel like those are comparable in my head.
16 and 10.
Those are
10th
just like
round and a
late.
16th round are
As
like
soon
the
as you
same
get to
thing in this
late,
draft.
it's like late, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems like a 6-round jump isn't nothing to scoff at, you know? Like,
No, I mean I wouldn't. A 6-round jump isn't like bad, but it's not something that like if I
What
if I
did-
believed more in one over the other, I wouldn't let the 6 rounds sway me, you know.
well, that's also the
You
thing.
also
I don't
missed,
believe in Gesicki that much. Is the
Yeah.
the
thing.
opening
I
statements,
mean, honestly,
which
the
I
thing
feel were
is,
pretty important.
yeah, the
closing.
thing is like Gesicki and Hooper at this point, they're practically just like they're both projections. Neither of them had like a really hot week 1. Njoku's out, so that obviously boosts Hooper. How much it does, I don't know, but being down one insanely talented, well, probably insanely talented pass catching tight end is like an upgrade for the other pass catching tight ends.
Yeah, no, that's what I figure. I figure Hooper will be better now that Njoku can't vulture his touchdowns like he did week 1.
Well, and Njoku
No,
wasn't
dude,
on IR,
I'm
though,
gonna look
when
up
you
a
made the
deep.
trade.
No, he was. IRs are really short
he
though. IRs
wasn't.
are like 3
He was
weeks.
not
Yeah.
on IR.
Yeah, it's like-
on
Yeah,
Yeah,
he'll
Sunday
be
night.
back in like 3 weeks, but you know
Sunday
that's
night? It
enough
was
time to
Monday
lose
night.
the job.
Oh, fuck, it was Monday night.
Yeah, it was. Njoku was out. I'm gonna look up the Cleveland Browns IR or the Cleveland Browns tight end receiving core and call which one is gonna take a touchdown from Austin Hooper.
OBJ. All right, here's a real question.
People
you
love
guys,
throwing to random tight ends
OBJ.
in the red zone.
you guys start or
OBJ.
sit OBJ tomorrow.
Fucking probably sit, dude.
Against the
God.
Is
Bengals.
You
Baker
gotta
good?
start him, bro.
Against
I
the
can't
Bengals, you
decide.
gotta go
But-
for it. Otherwise,
Oh,
why did you
against the
draft him?
Bengals, you gotta.
If
If
Yeah.
you don't
Play
play him
against
against the Bengals, why the fuck did you take him ever?
Well, to be
Yeah.
fair, I didn't take him. It's one of those classic
Nah, I mean,
situations.
I
where,
didn't
like,
either,
I
but
wouldn't
like
start
that's
him,
what
but I
I'm
didn't
saying.
take
If
him.
you didn't,
Yeah.
it's the
Who has
Bengals.
Odell?
If it's
Yeah.
late enough,
Oh,
you know
Jose does.
everybody has their threshold.
Mhm.
In
That's
my
true.
opinion.
It's true. It was pretty early though. I feel like.
What's his name? Jose took him. I
Yeah.
mentioned that in the ranks. I was like, ooh, is he bad?
Yeah, he beat me with him. He scored 138 or something. So it was
Yeah.
fine.
No help from him though.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I imagine
Yeah.
if he goes off.
Yeah. look how good his team
But
is.
since you missed,
Yeah, the opening statements.
since you
What
missed a
happened
bunch
there?
of stuff, did you have any questions? I feel like I can't read. I had a pretty long-winded
yeah.
No, you're good.
explanation of my reasoning.
No, I mean I
Do you have
don't
any
really have
questions
any
about
beef
it?
with
Like,
either one.
yeah.
I feel like there's solid reasons to go on either side. Personally, I'd probably lean more Saquon, but just based purely on like his fucking monster opportunity. But I mean, at the same time, Ertz is like that's the real. I think if like Ertz was like Mark Andrews, because like personally, I don't like Ertz very much, but like you can't deny that they're in a tier together. So I think if it was like a different name, I'd be more into it. But I'm like very nervous about the Eagles and Ertz like beefing right now. It could just be all
me
talk,
too.
but like it's like
I
it's a
actually agree.
troubling beef.
I think that's right.
Yeah. It looking back on it, I didn't have the necessary knowledge of that situation, so I can say that was a fault of mine. But
No, that's
at
fine.
the
'Cause, I
same
mean,
time,
honestly, if it doesn't pan out in like the worst
You have
case
Gesicki.
scenario, it's a win. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I've been
Sorry to
Danny
cut
didn't
you
want
off.
him. Gesicki's better than
Um,
Hooper.
But the long and short of what I had to say was pretty much that I wanted to move capital from my running back position. That's very sequestered at the top of the draft. I wanted to move
Oh
that
yeah, I
away
agree
to
with
add
that as well.
depth to my team, which offloading Goff and Hooper was awesome to me. to get much better players, and Slayton being an 11th round keep. And like you said, when Golden Tate comes back, there will be a bit to say, but he is an old receiver, and Sterling Shepard has had his fair share of injuries. Evan Engram couldn't catch a ball last night if he wanted to, and he's also prone to injury. There was some stat that Slayton has 10 touchdowns since week 5 of last year. Like, it's not because
touchdowns out of anybody.
Wait, he's Danny's favorite guy.
No,
For
and
sure.
there's value in that, and having him as a
Danny,
potential 11th round keeper.
I thought that for a second. I thought that for a second.
I thought he was like, no, he's Danny's favorite.
Danny loves him.
I actually have him in every other league, so I knew he was gonna go off.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off.
it's-
Yeah, no.
I can understand why people aren't high on Daniel Jones. I can
think
understand it.
Slayton-
I watch all the games,
I mean-
but I think he's progressing a lot. He makes good decisions. He's smart, good arm.
I mean, it's
Has
better than
mobile
Goff.
capability.
Right? Like,
I think Jones to Goff
Yeah.
is pretty lateral.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. No, whoa,
I think Jones to
that's
Goff is
ridiculous.
an obvious
I think
upgrade.
it's yeah, that's ridiculous. Yeah, get out of
It's
here.
pretty lateral.
I think it's
I'll stand by
obvious
that take.
upgrade.
mid. Yeah.
In 2 quarterback, I think it's lateral.
Well,
Oh, I mean, it's about the keep.
I guess we can end it on that take, right? We got a
With
fuck
the
ton
with
of
the
takes.
keep
Keeping
with the
Goff.
keep, it's probably better. Where did Jones go?
7. Slayton
Seven.
11.
That's pretty good.
And then Hooper, somewhere
Yeah,
late, right?
Yeah,
They're
we
they're
should
all
end
good.
it-
They're all good rounds for a bunch of
Yeah,
guys.
yeah. Everyone's late except for the main.
We should
pieces.
end it off with Nick Chubb's yard per carry.
Yeah, go for
We
it.
should end it off with a vote.
Yeah, I
Lucas,
actually
end
hear
it off
yards
with Nick
per carry
Chubb's
is a
yards per
very-
carry.
I hear yards per carry is a very predictive and good stat.
Whatever you feel about yards per carry, let's hear it, right?
What are you even talking?
Let's ask Nelson
6
his
yards
QB
per
odds.
carry.
Are you pro
6
yards,
yards
per
per
carry
carry.
stat?
Are you kidding me? Of course you could do yards after contact too. He's still at the top.
No, yeah, he's a great runner.
Yards per carry.
Yards
was
per
6,
carry, I just
so.
think it's
What
not
was
great.
Saquon's yard per carry week 1? Was it like 0.2?
Ooh, good
Yeah.
question. Let's look at
Yeah,
another
it's
yard
tough.
per carry.
It,
We'll
Saquon-
end it on just yard
Basically
per
what
carry.
I'm
This is the yard per
hearing-
carry court. 0.4. 0.4 yard per carry. Okay. So
Holy fuck.
yard per carry goes to Chubb.
All right, do you
We'll
want to
end
end
it
it
at
off
that.
with a vote?
No,
just
we
end it
don't
right
need
there.
to do
Yeah,
the vote. We had. All right, we can.
Yeah, the game
Yeah,
was
let's do it.
24-6 at half.
I think we should
Ked,
do a
vote
vote.
first. Ked, vote first.
Yeah.
Vote. I'll say Dono.
Who's next?
Lucas.
No, I want to cap it off.
All right.
All
I'll
right,
go
I say
next.
Donna.
Oh, okay. He says Dono. I say Danny by a thin margin.
I'm gonna say Danny too. Thin margin though.
I'm with them. It's Danny by a very thin margin.
Dom.
Am I up? Dom's up.
No,
I
Dom
said Donna.
Dom said
Okay.
Donna.
Oh, okay. I'm on Danny.
Nice.
By a thin margin?
by a thicker margin.
Oh,
Okay.
slightly thicker.
I'm gonna say it's 2 point
Skinny-
margin here
Skinny thick.
versus the 1 point margin.
All right. Okay.
All right.
All right.
All right.
That's fantasy court,
Very nice.
Fantasy
and I have no
football.
doubt this will happen again.
They are who we thought they were.
I'm playing the outro.
I'm
music.
looking forward to being on the jury.
Yeah, that's true.
Who are you uploading it for, Ron?
Yeah.